Hey everyone, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm yours, Dave.
And I'm John, and I'm festive.
Yes, lots of Christmas lights. And JD is on his way. He
Yeah,
had
he,
something
he got
important
out
to
of
do.
he got out of the theater, and he's just getting to his desk now. So we're getting hot, fresh takes here on Godzilla minus one.
Yes, that's the term, hot fresh. Uh, so
No,
what?
no.
Well, while we wait for JD to get here, how are things going with you? I mean, obviously you were doing some Christmas decorating this week. What's new with you?
Well, I started this weekend thinking, okay, so I've got my bills to do, I've got some yard work to finish and everything. So I finished putting up the lights and figured it was a weekend well spent. It always takes longer than you think, you know.
It does. It does. That yeah.
But
Um,
uh, but it's all up, and you know, at least I paid the bills, kind of.
John, what's
What's
in the mug?
what's in the bug? Well, you see, I mean, if you don't remember, like 2 weeks ago, I was so sick that we, basically called it we'll call this a Thanksgiving break, and we didn't have the show. So my flu got bad, got a little bit better, and now I've had a massive cough. So this is honey vanilla tea, so that I am not continually blowing out our recording.
Yeah.
With locally sourced honey too. Everybody should buy locally sourced honey. It'll support the
Yeah,
bees and it's good for you.
right. Like it's funny. That's actually a cure for allergies
Yeah, yeah,
because
because
you're
the honey
usually
will
you're
contain a
the
lot of
the
it.
allergens in the area. Yes. So, look who
You're
snuck
probably
in.
you're probably disappointed that it's not just all bourbon, but I'm still sick, so I'm trying to, before I start hitting the bottle again, I have to take care of myself.
Yeah, I hear you. Yep.
JD,
Hey,
How are you?
yo,
I
what's
just
up,
I
dude?
just got home. I just got home from the movies and I had to poop. So I'm just finishing up and I'm good.
We were being nice. We didn't say that part of it.
You want to hear a poop story?
No, no, I
I
don't
know
I
I
feel
don't
really.
want to tell it because John is super uncomfortable. So I have celiac disease, right? And this weekend I spent hey Kassan. I spent the weekend, Friday and Saturday, in Iowa City at a wrestling tournament. And they weren't very gluten friendly. We went to a burger
uh,
place after the tournament, and I stopped and got a burger, which the last 2 years have been fine. I didn't make it 5 miles down the road,
ooh.
and I made a mistake. Um, I
They
thought
had
I
like
had
breadcrumbs or something in it, right? In the burger itself.
something touched something like the food,
Yeah.
because literally, if it touches, you can have a reaction.
Okay.
So I had a reaction, and I thought I had gas. So I'm
Oh
by
no.
myself in the
Oh
car,
no. Oh no.
and I
Oh
let it
no. Oh
I
no.
just I just got to fart. I'm just gonna let my fart go.
And it was a shart, wasn't it?
I had to pull over. I had to find a pair of shorts. Fortunately, I had a pair of extra shorts from a workout, so I drove home in the snow wearing gym shorts.
That's not good.
Something touched something is another term for sharting. In my life, it definitely is. So I'm very careful about. Normally, I try to be very careful about how I eat things because that's really bad when that happens.
Sorry, man.
Hey, um, it was humbling. Life humbles you.
And how old were you when that happened?
But this was yesterday.
Oh. Oh.
This was yesterday. This just
Oh.
happened.
Oh.
This happened less than 24 hours ago.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, that's my weekend.
That was your weekend. Oh.
That's
Okay.
my weekend.
It's not fair
Well,
sometimes.
that,
Dave,
that
go ahead, top that, Dave. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead,
I
follow that, Dave. Go
I
ahead.
I can't follow that at all. I
Nor should you.
I've been
Fair enough.
I've been dealing with a very under the weather girlfriend um, for the past few days. She had she has periodontal disease.
What's that?
Um, Basically, like all of your teeth and the stuff that connects your teeth to your jaw deteriorates over time. It's it's actually more common
That's
than
awful.
people realize. But like like
You
her
can have
mother.
you can have partial. Like I technically have that partially. It just takes a lot of work to stave it off. But if you've got it, but like I have, just on one side of my mouth, they say, and it's but that's manageable. There are levels way above me that are not
Yeah.
manageable, and it
So
sucks.
she has her mother had it, or yeah, her mother has it.
And
Her
it's
sis,
genetic. Yeah.
her sister, and her one brother have it, and but she apparently has it the worst. So, long story short, she had to get a tooth pulled. There was a big mess up. She finally got it pulled, and when they pulled that, they had to pull a second one because they said there was once they got the one out, they saw there was a really bad cavity in the other, and she's just been miserable, because now she's got two holes where teeth used to be, and
And now you've got to get implants or a bridge or
she
something.
can't get implants. There's not enough
Oh, it's that bad.
bone. Yeah, there's not enough bone left underneath for implants.
No,
So how do
normally
they
when they
how do they treat that?
well, no, normally when
on-
they pull a tooth, they do a buildup. They put necrotic bone, cadaver bone into the hole, and then they let that build up. The body will
Yeah.
build it
So,
up.
long story short, eventually she's just gonna have to have dentures. Like, there's no. Yeah,
Yeah.
and and it's not fun. So, like, basically, we just spent a low key weekend at her house playing board games and relaxing because she just was not in the mood to do anything. And then, but I did see a movie on Friday that we will be talking about shortly. That I got
I
some
just
things
saw
to
it.
say about.
I also, man, I also have some things to say about this movie. Let me tell you.
Oh, we got John concerned. I love it. I love it.
Sometimes I just can't read you, JD. I swear it's like sometimes I think you're gonna go one way because I've
You
known you for
don't
a
know,
while now, and
John,
then
John. Let's hold this off. We're gonna have a really good discussion about this film because I have a lot to say about this.
okay,
Sometimes JD zigs when you think he's gonna zag.
all right,
All right.
continue.
So yeah. So that was my weekend. Nothing too adventurous. And then I've
Didn't
been
poop,
busy with work.
didn't poop yourself.
I did not poop
Good
myself.
for you. Very happy for you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, JD. I just that
Oh, don't
was
feel sorry for me because I mean, like, I know the risks I take when I eat food out, and like, you know, it's not
well.
the first time. Probably won't be the last time.
Speaking of risky farts, let's do a little social media madness.
Still more fun than
That's
social media
apropos.
madness.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna start with uh, last week we had talked about the rumor that Pedro Pascal has been cast as Reed Richards, and we got a couple people responding to that. Geek to Me Radio said that's a real quick no.
I don't know
Uh,
why. I still don't get why people are so anti this. I think it's a great call. But
uh,
After so many times that we've seen actors get picked for roles and everybody goes, "Oh God, no," and then they love it afterwards.
I
Like you
know.
don't know until you see it, right?
yeah. Timothy Jones says Pascal is a great actor, but him
Yeah.
as Mr. Fantastic is a bit of a stretch.
There, now. Thank you. Last
Okay,
week I said
yeah.
we asked for this. Last week we said we need the dad jokes to return, and Tim was like right on top of that. So kudos, sir. Sour
Yeah.
grapes available in finer newspapers across this country.
Always bringing it, Tim.
Uh,
Awesome.
Random Randy Savage said Pedro Pascal can play literally any role he wants. And to be fair, it really wanted his neck to be broken in Wonder Woman 84. So playing Reed needs to be someone who can be a dad but is a true villain for when he meets his dark counterpart.
The Maker? I don't think they're going to do the Maker.
No,
to be frank.
no, we're talking about Reed, not Frank.
Hello, James, by the way.
The maker,
Uh,
the maker. That's Dark Reed Richards, the maker.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
James,
from
hello.
he's
Yeah,
from
from
the
Ultimate
ex-
Fantastic Four
Ultimate
universe.
Universe.
Yeah.
And then Moriko RMC said, Pascal is a guy with charisma, talent, and above all, he has the same nationality as me, so I want him to do well. But unfortunately, I'm so sure that the Fantastic Four movie is going to be more of the same that I'm honestly not excited for him taking the role of Richards.
I don't know what that means. More of the same. What? Every Fantastic Four movie, like the 3 attempts at a Fantastic Four movie, were vastly different from each other. So
Yeah,
I'm not even sure how to react to that post.
And two
Unless
of
he
those
means-
movies were made in order to keep the franchise, not for any
And
outward
I
need
thi-
for money.
No, I think the Fan Four Stick film, as you like to call it, was. I think they thought they were making a good movie with that. I truly
Really?
believe. Yeah, I do. I think they thought they were on. I'm not saying they did it good. I'm not defending it, but I think they thought they were onto something.
yeah,
So they can do better when they don't try.
I think they were. I honestly think they were trying to take the superhero genre in a different direction and be more intellectual or something with it. And
dark, darkness. I mean,
Darkness.
yeah, well,
yes.
Dark in the Fantastic Four, in my opinion, doesn't work. But
Well, I mean, like, I don't think it's crazy to say Josh Trank did not understand the source material, and he probably,
No.
as a filmmaker, wasn't ready for something like this.
no,
Like, I think studios often will jump at hiring a young filmmaker that they can, like, kind of have their way with, and kind of shadow.
Yep.
True.
And sometimes they just aren't ready to make a movie like this, And quite frankly, I don't think he's done much since.
Speaking of shadowing, we're going to be talking about something later.
Lamont
All right.
Cranston,
What?
that's the shadow.
Oh, jeez.
Who knows what even lurks in the hearts of men?
So
The shadow.
So
The shadow knows. Thank you, John. You remember watching that.
I remember the old
You-
serials. Yeah,
You listened to that as a kid
yeah, I did.
on the radio.
Well, I listened to recordings, but yeah, I used to buy the cassettes of all of them.
So, I did pose a question to the audience this week, but we didn't get a lot of answers on it, which doesn't surprise me because I do think Godzilla is a niche, and appeals more to our age range and
I took a
obviously-
7-year-old to this movie today.
Well, but I'm saying,
There were a lot of kids in mine too.
So my question
like-
was,
Kids like evil dinosaurs.
yeah. So my question was, what is your favorite all-time Godzilla movie? And we got like one answer over on X. Destroy All Monsters was Godzilla's greatest movie. That's from Jumpy231.
From
And then,
1974, I want to say. Godzilla
And
Destroy All
then-
Monsters. That was the wrap-up of the original Toho series.
oh, okay. And then over on the TikToks, 8-Bit Ray said Gojira. So
That would be the original 1954 Japanese version of Godzilla, because Godzilla is a poor translation of Gojira, which is actually, I believe, gorilla and like I forget mixed together. Like it's Japanese it's Japanese kanji or katakana, the way they put the words together. So I mean, like, so it was just mistranslated as Godzilla, and it became a brand. So
Yeah.
hey,
And the original movie was cut up for the American audiences, and
Mhm.
Raymond
And they-
Burr was inserted.
with Raymond Burr, Perry Mason.
I,
What a weird casting choice.
Yeah,
I like that movie though.
It's funny because I put the question out and didn't get a lot of responses. I actually responded to it for my personal account, and I don't. Here's the thing, you guys know this. I haven't watched a lot of Godzilla movies. As a kid, I watched them on the Saturday morning show, whatever, here and there. Like, I was never really into them.
I've seen every single one, plus the animes and the original animated series on TV and Saturday morning cartoons.
So-
I've seen them all multiple times.
With Godzuki, that one.
Yes, the
So-
Godzuki one.
Well,
I'm
we'll
halfway
There's
I'm
another
midway.
one too with the
from the 90s.
with Zilla.
Yeah,
With Zilla, yeah.
got the Broderick Godzillas. I like to refer to them. Godzilla Bueller, if you will.
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
I
Dave.
said,
Dave,
I said
whoever
this
did
one
that.
is
How do you laugh at that joke? Guess not.
exactly.
Matthew Broderick was in the 1998 Godzilla movie.
Yeah, that's okay. I will say, I've seen that one. I actually saw that in the theater.
So did I.
sorry.
I fell asleep. Yes. That movie, as I explained last week, was butt cheeks. Butt
And then
cheeks.
Godzilla vs. Kong we watched for the show.
Yeah, it was great. I loved that one.
And then this. These are
Which
the three that
one?
I can.
There's the original, and then there's the.
I've seen both, sir. And then there's the new one, Godzilla X Kong, which now they're making me do Division.
X is multiplication, by the way.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I tried. I knew it as soon as I said it. I'm like, God damn it, O'Grady's going to be the one to catch that. I just know it.
All right. Well,
It just sounds funnier. That's why I said it.
that actually is all the social media madness for this week.
Oh, thank God. Let's get on the show.
You're going to ask us what our favorites were? Like, what was JD's favorite?
We will revisit this later. I'm going to go
yeah,
through
we'll
my
talk about
favorites
it in the review. Yeah.
when
Okay.
we talk
All right.
about this movie.
All right. So if you want to follow us on social media and be part of social media madness, here's our good friend Don to tell you more.
Big
How's
Don.
the show going? You join it? Do you want to be part of social media madness? And go ahead and head over to superheroespeak.com where you can find all the social links, episodes of the show. You can find comic reviews by Chris and other articles. We're posting stuff on there all the time. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. Great shows like the Pop Prison Power Podcast, Colt 45, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, So Wizard, and Superhero Speak. Hashtag GW All-Stars, and you will not be disappointed. So make sure that you are engaging with the Superhero Speak Twitter post whenever they come up. Give us your best comment, and you may make JD say this.
I get so tired of these dumb motherfuckers.
All right, it's back to the show.
All right.
Why was I so angry in that clip? Anybody remember?
I don't remember.
Me neither.
When are you not angry? No.
We'll have to go back and listen to that episode again.
You, my wife.
So I realized two things listening to that. Okay, first off, thanks for that, Don. But I realized two things listening to it. I really haven't listened to it in a while. Number one, I realized it made it sound like you can find the other shows in the Geek World All Stars on our website. Which, no, the idea is like if you follow GW All Stars, you'll find the other shows on social media. And two, we need a third one anyway so that he can make fun of John. He's
Dave,
made
that
fun of
show,
me.
that commercial's like 2 years old.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe it's time to record a new one.
wait,
All
Don's gotta get motion again, man. We gotta get him out of retirement.
I got $1. I can give him $1 for a new commercial.
What do you think? He's a stripper?
$2?
Oh, and now you're overpaying for the stripper. Let's be reasonable here. $1 at a time. It's the same thing whether you got a 1 or a 5. It's veteran advice there.
Oh my
All
god! So what you're saying is Don isn't even a $2 whore. All right. So
He was a whore. So he was a stripper. There's a difference.
oh, okay. I hope so. All right. Well, on that note, let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with some news.
Oh boy.
Some podcasts are like this.
I eat Uber Eats every day. I never cook. I keep an empty refrigerator. Dad's like, son, don't you think it'd be so much cheaper if you cooked? And I said, no, not really, actually, if you think about it. I said, let's talk about that scenario. Calling the valet, getting downstairs in the elevator to valet, getting in the G-Wagon, burning fuel, sitting in traffic, go to Publix, trying to find a parking spot at Publix, getting out, looking around the store for what I want. Dude, I want fucking chicken or steak. Getting the food, all the ingredients, going home, parking again, going back up the elevator, getting the pots and pans out, cooking like a fucking idiot, cooking, saving money. The soap, the Dial soap that costs $8 a little bottle. Clean the dishes, clean the plates, fucking nerds. If you make any more than $15 an hour, that whole 4-hour ordeal is worth paying an Uber driver the extra 10% to bring the shit to you. It's worth it. Oh, and by the way, the restaurant makes food better than you.
And some podcasts are like this.
Also, I used to think that iron that's in cereal was iron.
It is.
Is it?
Yes, Joey.
Metal?
Yes, Joey.
Is it really?
Yes, Joey.
No, all the time.
Yes, Joey. That's why if
We're
you
eating
cook
metal. You can't eat metal.
Yes, Joey. Yes.
What?
That's why if you cook in a cast iron skillet or something, it enriches the food in iron.
Wait, no. Yeah, iron is like iron, bro. Like pumping iron.
Yes, Joey.
No, it's not.
Yes.
I'm very confused by this.
It's okay.
Iron is iron. Iron is dead ass iron.
Yes, dude.
But what? But is it hard normally? Like, what is it?
Joey, it's iron. It's like there's no way.
What's its form?
Iron.
Solid, liquid, gas, plasma.
Iron.
No.
Joey.
Are you solid, liquid, gas, plasma? Those are the forms.
I hope this gets picked up by one of those
dude,
hyper Instagram scientists that are just
Yeah.
like, let's break this down a minute. And then
But only one podcast is where you can get in-depth analysis like this.
Good on John Claude editing on this one. Having to every time it cuts back to him kind of rattling. But I did laugh that the love scene, you saw his dick twitch while he was on the crucifix. He was like, yeah, that's what started.
I remember that one piece. It was so good.
You know what always made me laugh? Because I did hate the fact that they played the flashbacks we already saw again. I hated that. But I did enjoy the one when they were just finishing making sweet love, and Fender's so about murdering them. He's watching them sleep.
What are you guys doing?
But the one dude with the stick is I can't see, so he uses his stick to move the curtain out the way so he can get a good view.
That motherfucker's trying to get
just
this shit
finished
on Pornhub.
inside of her, and he's like, "Hey, you guys ready to get murdered?"
You are now listening to Cult 45.
This is Beat 'em Down.
And I'm Random Randy Savage.
Find us on all your podcatching apps like Podbean or Spotify. And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Or just go to www.cult45podcast.com.
Also, check out our YouTube for that sweet, sweet video content.
Cult 45, the only podcast that puts hair on your chest.
I think the rich hillbilly in the first commercial, because that's what he is. He's a rich guy with a southern accent who just sounds like the biggest asshole in the world. I think I hate him even more this week, but I think I like the idiot who doesn't know what iron is even more, because I feel like I'd like to have him around just because I bet he's hilarious because he's so stupid.
Probably.
So
yeah.
he's the guy he's the dude you keep around because he's going to say something dumb and totally make the situation a lot more funny.
What I loved was as he's saying, "Wait, iron is iron." You see him pick up his phone like he's going to Google, what is iron.
It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, let's get angry at.
And I heard that episode of Cult 45, and it was also awesome. So, Randy, Beat him down. Great job on that show. Hilarious.
Always. So, news.
It did not put hair on my chest because I just don't grow a lot of hair. So, regret to import.
We got a teaser trailer for Agatha Coven of Chaos. Did you guys watch the teaser?
Really didn't show you much.
No?
I was gone all weekend. I just got home and watched the movie.
It really didn't show much. I mean,
yeah, no, it doesn't.
It was a lot of clips from previous stuff.
The first half of the teaser, it's only 30 seconds or something. And
I didn't miss anything.
The first half is clips from Multiverse of Madness and the first season of the WandaVision. So
here's the thing. That show came out in January of 2021. As we speak, it is currently December of 2023, and I no longer give two shits about Agatha Harkness. I just don't care anymore.
I saw something today where they're saying that basically they're treating this like WandaVision season 2. But how do you do that without Wanda?
You bring Wanda back.
They aren't going to do that. So I don't care. I'm not going to watch it. It's on my list.
I did watch a breakdown, and someone pointed out, like, you see her in some of the different period outfits that she was wearing in WandaVision. So they're wondering, are they going to, like, do the same thing again? But it's like, why would you do that? Unless
No,
they're
they're gonna use
flashbacks from the...
flashbacks.
Yeah.
No, it's
Like-
fine. And I just don't care. I just don't care. Like, we
Yeah,
wrapped up
I mean-
They wrapped up everything. They wrapped up everything in Doctor Strange. Like, what else? What more do we need to say?
It's going to be a real trick to make this work. A real trick.
Yeah. I just don't understand why they've changed the title 3 or 4 times, and then...
Because Disney's in panic mode because nothing they're doing is working with Marvel anymore.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. So so you didn't watch it, and John, it didn't change your opinion about watching the show.
I mean, I can easily see JD's point of view of just being burnt out on all this stuff.
Yeah.
Especially when it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So, I mean, they really haven't been tying anything together like they need to in order to make this, the next phase. Everything's just been all over. It's been like buckshot. So, I mean, I'll watch it, but I don't know if I'll finish it. It depends on how good it is,
The real problem for me is I just bought the MCU Reign of the Marvel Studios book. I'm listening to it on Audible. I'm listening to it on Audible right now. It's really well written. And it's just bringing me back. It's like I'm in the history phase right now where they're talking about, where they're on the upcoming and everything is positive. And it just, all it's doing is making me remember how much better things used to be,
Yeah.
So,
they used to have their shit together. I mean.
And along the lines of, like, tying stuff together, like, how do you tie this? Like, Agatha felt like a one-off character in that show. Like, you were done with her at the end of... Right. It's like, so how do you tie her into a bigger thing now? Like,
because the song went viral and they said, we have to do something with this. But look how long it's taken them to do anything. Like, the moment has passed. You guys missed it. And Bob Iger's sitting there being like, well, maybe we're doing too much of this shit. And it's like, yeah, maybe you are.
Well, hold on. We'll get to Bob Iger in a second.
Well, I mean, you also got to take into account that the actress is, what's her name?
Catherine Hahn.
Catherine, yeah, she is amazing in this role. I mean,
well, she's great, no doubt.
Yeah,
it's one of the only reasons I'm going to give it a shot. The other is because I'm a glutton for punishment. But
Tom Hiddleston, I love Tom Hiddleston. I think he's great. His Loki is fantastic. I didn't watch a single second of the season 2,
and yet it was really good.
I mean, the wife put it on the first episode, and she said, "I feel nothing for this," and turned it off. So, and she's a bigger MCU nerd than I am.
Well, and also, I mean, like, I think they lucked out with the ending they got, but they did rewrite the entire ending of that, turning some characters like Rensfield into just what the hell happened to them. So, like, again, like, it's just the people that are running the Marvel Studios right now, they really either have to stop.
Kevin Feige?
Yeah, well, he's got to give it to somebody else because he's busy with so many different things.
Well, along those lines,
they have to stop making everything.
They need to,
and just
what John is saying. They need to stop, collaborate, and listen,
and reevaluate, come up with a plan, and then work on that plan instead of this buckshot. Like,
I don't know the next line. I know
Ice is back with a brand new invention.
Nice.
Something grabs a hold of me tightly. Flow like a harpoon, daily and nightly.
Dun, 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 dun.
Will it ever stop? Well, I don't know. Turn out the lights. I'll glow. I can do the whole thing because I grew up at the right at the right time to know that entire song. So sorry, John.
Oh my god. Along the lines of moves Marvel's making, and I'm kind of curious your opinion on this. So Loki writer and creator Michael Waldorn has been tapped to be the writer for Kang, the Kang Dynasty.
Good luck to him.
I mean, he did, from all intents and purposes. And again, I didn't watch the show, but it seems like everyone's really happy with the writing of the show. So it's probably a good move.
And I think, and the thing is, like, he gave us He Who Remains, which I still like that character and the way they handled him.
It's the best version that we've seen of the character so far.
Right. So,
but given one of the other things that we're going to talk about, like, good luck to him. Who knows how much interference he's going to receive, and
it sounds like a lot.
Tying all this buckshot together, it's just not going to.
It sounds like a lot more interference. It sounds like the failure of the Iger's answer to the failure of the Marvels is, you know what this movie needed? More executive notes.
Yeah. All right. So let's.
Because historically, that's worked.
Okay. So
I always makes it better. More notes.
All right. Let's. Yeah, we don't need to talk about Chris Evans. I wanted to talk about this stuff because the two bigwigs. So Zaslav over at Warner Brothers came. John, you brought this article to my attention. Basically came out and said that
courage.
It takes courage to fire people.
Courage. I read that article and all I could hear was the voice of the Cowardly Lion reading it to me.
Yeah.
Except that Kang is a weak villain. I don't disagree. My favorite version of him was He Who Remains, because it was kind of like everything could be new. Then he got beaten by ants.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he comes out and says that, and then of course Not Kevin Feige. I'm sorry.
Bob Iger.
Bob Iger comes out and says, "Yeah, the reason the Marvels failed is there wasn't enough oversight from the executives. There weren't enough people on set, like giving their opinion from the higher ups."
Or counterpoint, it might have been the overworking of all the CGI people, the short deadlines, the shuffling of everything, and then the guy who plays Kang suddenly becoming public enemy number one, and like there's a whole bunch of different things that are going, and Feige being overworked and not having any focus anymore.
Well, number one, I don't think
the Marvels. We reviewed the Marvels highly. The problem is the public is tired of it. That's the problem,
right? And it's crap rolling downhill because the Marvels is just at the bottom of the hill currently, but the mistakes have been piling up from.
I'm going to say this too. Like I think we were all in agreement. There was a lot definitely cut out of that movie. There's a lot on the cutting room floor of the Marvels. I feel like that was executive oversight. Them going like, cut this out, cut that out. Get it down to 100 minutes so we can get more showings to make more money off of this. And I'm not saying that totally ruined it, but like that's oversight. Like it just shows you that those two CEOs are so out of touch with everything.
I don't know. Zaslav, yes. Zaslav, 100%, absolutely, 100%. That dude is on another planet. Like the idea that it takes courage to shelve movies and try to, that it takes courage to shelve movies and like make a
and cut people.
Off. Like, yeah, that is not what we call courage here in Illinois. Iger is thinking about this like an executive think about it, like, because I think you're right, Dave. I think the reason I have a controversial statement. Is it possible that the 100-minute version of the Marvels is the best version of the Marvels because it's tighter
possible.
and leaner?
It is.
I know John says no, but I mean, just adding more to it doesn't. I mean, even if there's more background, even if there's more character stuff, doesn't mean it's good.
I understand, but I think it would have been better with what they cut out. But then again,
we don't know.
Like I said, the problem is all the mistakes they've made previously are starting to pile up, and like you said, people are tired of this.
The mistake, and again, it's not Iger's mistake. Iger wasn't running Disney when they were doing all of those stuff. So, I think the problem is oversaturation. And the problem comes from Disney. Disney's like, hey, we want more. And Feige's like, yes, I will give you more. Because even in the Marvel, in this book I'm reading, this was Feige. This is what he wanted. He wanted this. he wanted an MCU that mirrored what it's like to be a comic fan, right? Where you have, but the difference is like what, again, like as a comic fan, we all like, well, I don't really like reading, the X books. I'm not going to buy the X books. I'm just going to buy Avengers. But I mean, like
hold on.
Go ahead.
He gave it to us, right? Like there are you try to pick up a story and you realize you had to read three trades ago to understand everything that's going on. Every once you hit periods where there is crappy writing on a book you love and you stop reading it for a while.
You're right.
This is exactly what it's like to be a comic book fan. I'm sorry.
You're right. Did it. Nope. You are spot on, 100% correct. And with that comes angry nerd fans. Yep. Like, and I was just gonna say, it's like, but it's almost like, when there's these big crossovers, right? That you really like, you want to follow the main story, but they're like, no, you really should read the tie-in. Like, I really didn't want to read like Secret Wars Secret Wars New Warriors, Secret Wars, Spider Woman, but they want, and this is what it feels like we have to do now. They're making sure that you do it all because they want you to buy every crossover tie-in, and that's what and this is stuff that like does piss off a lot of comic fans and pushes them away from things. And it feels like they're embracing the marketing aspect more so than the creative aspect of comics.
And I think, and this has been said, I've heard this from a couple people, that the shows are looked at as lesser than the movies, and they didn't want it that way. They want everything is equal. But to put it in comic book terms, that's like, Secret Wars, but now you gotta go read New Warriors, and no one wants to read New Warriors. So it's like, or we'll make it even better. The Inhumans, or no, not Inhumans. What was the movie?
The Eternals.
The Eternals. You got to read the Eternals to fully understand this.
But that's the thing, though, is it's like they've done too much, right? And like, Kassan stepping in, he says, the oversaturation isn't the amount of superhero movies, it's development of weak characters and plots. If Phase 4 was the Fantastic Four and X-Men, we'd welcome it. See, I disagree with that because like if these movies were selling a lot of tickets and people were coming out saying, man, I'm tired of this, then you'd have a point. Nobody went to see the Marvels. So you can't say it's weak characters and stuff like that because the audience didn't care, and the people that came out of the movie did have good reviews of it.
Right, but I think what he's saying is if it was Phase 4, like Phase 4 is all these movies that nobody cares about and TV shows. But if it wasn't that, if it was Fantastic Four and X-Men, they got right into that from
I don't disagree with that.
Here's the thing too, and I know I don't want to blame everything on it, but you have to bring in the pandemic, and we kick off Phase 4 with TV shows. Like no one's going to the theater. Not everyone has Disney Plus. They lost a lot of momentum that no one talks about. Right.
But the problem is like when nobody was putting out new content, right? Remember, like, it's late 2020, we were like, damn, it'd be great to see some movies. Then Marvel came out like, hey, man, we have these shows. And everybody was super. Dude, we spent hours discussing what was going on WandaVision.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it ended. And I think personal opinion, I think No Mephisto turned some people off. In our circles. I do.
John was right.
He didn't deliver an expectation, right?
Yeah.
And then
it's just because Mephisto's that evil that he decided
then
not to.
Captain America, what was it called? Falcon Winter Soldier came out, and we talked about it, but it wasn't as much, right? And then Loki came out, and we're like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. And then like it's just the return on the investment was like it was almost too much, right?
Yeah. I also kind of feel like. I've said this before, and being someone who loves both the characters of Bucky and Sam, in the grand scheme of things, it's a story that doesn't matter.
Really doesn't.
It doesn't.
And it had a horrible ending too. I mean,
it did have a bad ending.
Yeah, it did have a bad ending, but it's just like
very flat.
It's just Sam going through trying to accept the shield, and it's like, okay, I get that, but I don't know. Did you need 6 episodes to tell that story? Did
it need 6 episodes is the thing. Well, I think a lot of these would have been better off if they were just 2-hour made for Disney Plus movies. Right, WandaVision kind of worked because WandaVision embraced the idea of television.
Yeah.
right? What made WandaVision better, I think, than all these things is WandaVision is like a send up of TV, right? We saw their versions of, like, remember the Family Ties, the Malcolm in the Middle, we had Bewitched, like it was embracing TV. So it worked really well in this medium. But like the rest of the things just kind of like are like, oh, it's just another, it felt like they feel like bloated movies. Right. Instead of just having a trim focused film, like even Miss Marvel, I think, loses some momentum midway through. Kassan says Falcon and Winter Soldier suffered from a rewrite. The original plot involved a pandemic. They rushed a crappy story with a no-name villain. They did do that. It would have been.
And they
I
had
think
some good stuff in there. They like the original Captain America, right? The original Super Soldier.
Isaiah Bradley.
Like, yeah, they had a lot of good stuff in there that they could have used, and it went nowhere.
They didn't deliver on anything. And I think the problem too is the villains kind of suck in that show. Like they had Zemo, but they go out of their way to like make Zemo like hip and fun, which is weird. And it was like we had the dancing Zemo gift that everyone seems to have forgotten about. And like the villain, I can't even remember what the name of the villain was in Falcon and Winter Soldier, right? It was
the Flag Smashers, but I can't remember
because it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter. None of it mattered. It was the red-haired girl from Solo, but like who cares? Like again, Marvel has had some really crap ass villains over the last 4 years.
Yeah, no.
Who's good? Who's a good Marvel villain that we've seen? Wanda, and she really shouldn't have even been the villain. Like they did this total sympathetic portrayal of her in her own show, and then she's a freaking cackling villain by the time Sam Raimi gets his hands on her. I like the movie, but like it's some weird character development stuff. And you can just say the Darkhold got too much of her, which is fine. But I mean, like, that's it. That's the only good villain we've had. That's not including the Spider-Man stuff. The Spider-Man villains, we've all seen those before. They didn't develop them. It worked, but Kassan says Daredevil and Punisher showed that superhero movies can catch fire and draw a market. I think he means superhero shows. But those two shows had great character depth and exposition. Agreed, 100%. They also weren't part. They also weren't under the Feige watch. So
they weren't under Feige.
They made them non-canon, right? Yeah.
That's why they weren't supposed to be non-canon when they were made. But I think Feige has this little bugaboo about stuff that was created that wasn't under his regime or under his watch. So he's like, no, that doesn't count. Even though people like it. Like, sure, Iron Fist sucked, but everything else they did was pretty good.
Yeah, and they were also dealing with a smaller universe at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was... And they were giving you that feel that this was the street-level heroes, and the bigger stuff... Too. Yeah, the bigger stuff is the big stuff out there in the movies, and the TVs was the street-level heroes. Which, you know what?
Worked.
It worked, and they could have done that on Disney Plus and made it work. But no, they were...
No. I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, like, Werewolf by Night sucked ass, and it didn't hold a candle to any of the stuff that Netflix Marvel did. All of it was better. Iron Fist was better than Werewolf by Night.
And then you get to Secret Invasion, and
that's a big... Again, I didn't even see it as so bored. It's a collective fart, and it didn't matter at all for the Marvels. It didn't matter at all.
No, it didn't matter for anything.
Like, yeah, it didn't affect... what's his face? Damn it, super spy. My God,
Fury.
why am I blanking his name? Fury.
Yeah.
It did. Like Fury at the end of Fury should have been like a mess in Marvels, and yet he's back to his little quippy self again. It's like I don't get it.
There's no more. They're telling us everything matters, and it only matters when they tell us it matters. Like it doesn't make it didn't. It doesn't. It isn't landing because nothing feels like it matters anymore.
And
it's because they're not not running out of a playbook for the whole. They're just just shooting stuff left and right.
But here's the thing, right?
Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
The thing with like WandaVision works because it embraces the TV trope, right? Every episode for at least the first 3 or 4 are wrapped in a TV theme in a sitcom era. And it works. It was
also new. It was also new. That helped.
And it was new, and it was a new idea, right? And we said over and over again, it's why a lot of the Marvel movies work, because it's a spy movie. It's a thief movie, not a thief movie, like a
heist
movie wrapped in a superhero movie, like all these different things, right? And they could have done that with the TV shows, and they didn't. They started with that concept, and then it became, no, these are like just long movies. They're not episodic. It was. I think Loki season 2 is a little more episodic than the other things have been, but like you could have made Secret Invasion a detective noir weekly, like him trying to figure out what's going on, and made it episodic, and it would have worked, and it would have been different. But no, it's like it was just stupid.
No, I think too is like you talked about, like Ant-Man is a heist movie, right? Guardians of the Galaxy is a space opera, right? Winter Soldier is an espionage movie. Now they're just Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Kassan says the problem is Disney productions are always playing it safe. No impact from one IP to another, no costs, no character development. It's the problem of iconic characters versus dynamic. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like 5 years ago, we got rid of major characters. Like there were consequences in the Infinity War story. And Spider-Man too, they've reset everything at the end of the last Spider-Man movie, which is it's a Sony Marvel movie, so that counts. It's firmly in the canon. But now it's like, I don't even know if they're playing it safe. I don't know if I agree with that. Is Werewolf by Night playing it safe? Like, is the Marvels playing it safe? I don't think so. I think it's arrogance. I think if they were playing it safe, they would have another Iron Man movie out. They would have another Captain America movie out. They have, if anything, I think the opposite. Actually, I think they're arrogant. I think they think that anything they do, people will flock to see. And until recently, they've been proven wrong. And I think Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I can be like people, everyone shit it up, but look how much money it made. And then the Marvels comes out and they're like, ooh, where'd the audience go?
Yeah.
Even though it was still a good movie.
But nobody went and saw it.
Their prior acts are coming back to haunt them.
I agree 100% with that, John. Again, like you haven't been doing the work. You have not been getting people really excited. Again, it's like I like Sam as Captain America, but it's not Captain America, right? It's not the one that like we've grown with and like had all this, you know what I'm saying? It's just not the same. It's not Iron Man. It's not like even the last Thor movie didn't really, Taika Waititi was too busy making himself laugh to deliver like, really interesting movie. It's just they're so arrogant with how they're doing these things now. I think they need to stop for a while. Like I don't think the answer is making more movies and trying to work your way through this. Like I think they need to pause and go back.
Did you see Taika Waititi recently came out and said that he didn't really understand the character Thor and he didn't really want to do the movie? It was just a paycheck to him.
Jesus. That's very obvious. The Ragnarok, you could tell they were onto something with Ragnarok, and that was a really fun movie. And then like I think him saying that is him kind of bristling back at his critics, right? Yeah. Because everybody. Well, and it's not just his critics from Marvel. Like a lot of his stuff has taken a shit lately. Like his last movie, the soccer or the rugby movie, nobody went and saw that either. Like people are finally just being like, you're not that great. Kassan says exactly. Infinity War was the end of their golden era by design, where they had solid writing with impactful characters and costs, except for the time travel element and interlinked stories. Yeah, I mean now it's just kind of a bunch of stuff that happens with nothing. Everything's interconnected, but it's like interconnected. And like if I go in the subway and I leave a candy bar there, someone's going to find that candy bar and they might eat that candy bar. And maybe they'll get sick because like maybe I didn't treat that candy bar so good. But ultimately, the two stories really have nothing to do with each other, except there's a candy bar.
There's still part of a celestial sticking out of like a major ocean, and nobody said anything about
because nobody gives a fuck about the Eternals.
I know. I know, but the Eternals shouldn't have been a movie. It should have been a series. That would have given it more time to breathe and might have actually made it work.
The Eternals shouldn't have been done. That's arrogance. The Eternals fucking sucks. The Inhumans fucking sucks. They never should have even tried to do anything like that. James Burton says JD is dead on. Thanks, man. And it's the freaking ego of the investors driving moronic decisions creatively based upon religion attempts to generate monetary numbers like producing computers, iPhones, and plain avarice. I love the word avarice. Avarice.
Yeah, but I mean it's
way cooler than
I think you're right. Right? Like we can't do anything wrong, and the audience went, yeah, no, you can.
And now that it's gone wrong, they're like, you know what we need? We need more of what we were doing to these movies, and put more executives in charge.
Well, that's how executives think. Like executives for as much as we pick on them, executives think that their function is to fix these things. They think because they are outside of the box that they can provide a more grounded take on what's happening. Now, I think they're all creatively inept and stupid, but here we are. Almost said a bad word.
But also going back to the fan backlash, right? The comic book fan backlash kind of thing, pissed off nerds. Remember they had that big summit and they came out of it and they were like, they have some ideas, and Feige didn't say like, here's what we're definitely doing. But one of the things that leaked out of it was, they want to bring back Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson and to redo the original Avengers cast, right? And I feel like so many people grabbed onto that story because as angry comic book nerds, that's what we wanted. We wanted our original team back, and we want that, But now Chris Evans has come out and said, like, yeah, that's news to me. No one said anything to me about like that being a possibility. So
he said he was open to it. He did say,
he said he was open to it, but like he said, no one's contacted him.
But like you said, Dave, like this is what comics is like. Like ultimately, what do we want from the Avengers? We want the big three. We want Cap, Iron Man, and Thor leading this charge, and then Astro's out there. And then what happens every time a writer takes on? Like he puts some of his favorites on there. Like my best example is Jeff Johns when he was writing the Avengers. Had to put in the Jack of Hearts. No one ever gave a flying fuck about Jack of Hearts. But Jeff Johns wanted in there. Brian Bendis, same thing. Brian Bendis had Luke Cage and the Sentry in there. Roger Stern gave us Monica Rambeau as Captain Marvel, and then like Black Knight and Circe. Like this happens to every writer who writes Avengers and Justice League for the same matter. And then people go, I don't want this, right? And it's cool when J.M. DeMatteis and Keith Giffen were giving us the Bwahaha Justice League, and it was funny. But eventually people are like, I just kind of missed the Justice League. And then Grant Morrison comes out with the Big Seven. Like there's this always like it's this ebb and flow where you have to go. You got to bring out the A players sometimes, and then when people get tired of the A players, well, then you got to bring in some of the lower tier guys to do some more focused stories with. And then people go, I'm not reading it for this. Like if there's this up and down cycle when it comes to comics, I think we're seeing that with the movies where we haven't gotten an Avengers movie, but it feels like we've gotten like 90 Avengers movies.
Oh my God, that's true. Yeah, like, pardon me, like. And I think they started doing that when they started sneaking Iron Man into all the movies as well and making him the connective tissue. But then all of a sudden, every movie started feeling like an Avengers movie, and we're still there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Wow, lots of comments here.
We hot.
James says, it's like bad 80s music. Everything needs more cowbell. Watch Wizards of Speed and time. And great time example of studio behavior.
There's no such thing as bad 80s music. It was all great, my friend. Even the corny stuff is fun and has heart.
Kassan says one thing. Go ahead.
Kassan, about my AEW stuff. I don't remember why I said this. Kassan says one thing JD said about his AEW comments is how that the franchise is trying to cast a wide net to capture more audiences, but those fans don't care about the IP. Yeah, it is true. Like I forgot that I made this connection. Is when you try to get, I just made this today. Actually, I just compared this today. Like AEW, I'll go back to this analogy that I made. I've been saying AEW, All Elite Wrestling, the number 2 wrestling company, is trying to get more casual / WWE fans following their product, right? And like I look at Twitter and they're doing this tournament right now, right? It's a Japanese style tournament, round robin. I'm loving it. But then you get a lot of people in the comments that are like just tweeting Roman Reigns gifts. And it's like, and I said today, I'm like, you're not going to win these people over, right? No matter what you do, these people are committed to this. They by nature do not like that. And this is kind of where we're at a little bit too, is when you try to be all things to all people and just service everyone, you really chase away the core of what you are. Yep. And again, I think in Marvel's case, it's more of a hey, we can do no wrong, and we have all these great characters, and every writer is. And I'm in this kit. I'm in this too. Like when I my first episode of this show, like you, Dave, asked me what back when I cared about comic book writing. What would, if you could write one comic book for Marvel, what would it be? And I said the Son of Satan, right? Because every writer wants to put their own take on some hidden gem, right? And that's kind of what we're seeing right now, right? We're seeing all these guys who want to kind of try to put their own twist on something. Like, why else am I watching Monica Rambeau? Who cares? Right?
Right. And Kassan followed up. I think Disney's trying to do the same thing by casting a wide net, trying to capture an audience that doesn't appreciate the IP, and the story becomes diluted. And
yeah, he said that a lot more sync than I did. Good job, Kassan. Classy says, "Hey, what's up? I finished all my exams Friday night. Fall semester's ended. I'm relaxing until spring starts. Good for you, man. I have projects due soon. I have a Zoom meeting with one of my professors to make sure I nail my final, and I have my own finals as a teacher coming up. There's a lot going on. I'm a little stressed, and I'm talking about Marvel."
Yeah, my the girlfriend's two boys, the twins, they're freshmen in college. They've got their exams this week. Yeah, so
college, man, it can be stressful.
It can be. I don't remember, but it can be. All right.
I didn't remember because I was in there 20 years ago, and now I've decided to go back because I am trying to get paid more. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Literally gluttony. I just want to get paid more for my job. So here I am. Yay. Anyway.
All right. I don't think we're going to solve Marvel's problems tonight. Maybe next week. So let's take a quick break and come back with our main topic.
何かでかいのがあれがゴジラ
I told you it was quick. All right. And Classy followed up 3 hours for one exam. I feel exhausted that Friday morning.
Yeah. College sucks.
All right. Well,
Speaking of sucks, let's talk about this.
Really? Really? That's how you're going to start it.
Let's talk about it.
All right. So real quick, let's just talk. So we're talking obviously Godzilla -1. Box office, it made worldwide $34 million, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that its budget was $11 million. So
15 million.
15 million. Okay.
15
so it doubled
million.
it doubled its budget, which is good. And then
foreign language films in the US typically don't draw a lot of money.
Yeah, it did 11 million in the US, 23 million in Japan. Although in Japan the release date was November 3rd, so it's been out a full month so far.
Much smaller population too, let's not forget that.
True.
On Rotten Tomatoes, it got a 97% from the critics and a 98% audience score. So this is a very highly rated movie.
Kassan, I just read your comment. Go ahead.
I have a prediction that JD liked the movie and is just pulling John's leg because he is statistic.
Well, thanks for ruining my bit, dude. Thanks.
I mean, we are talking about a man who has killed me several times in his books. So, yes, sadistic, I would go with that, definitely.
Classy says he hasn't seen the film, but he's going to wait for streaming. Well, I mean, okay. All right. So, Ridal just saw the movie. Well, I saw the movie Friday.
I saw it today.
You two just saw it today. So, and you're the most fresh, JD. So, real quick, non-spoiler, what was your reaction coming out of the theater?
You messaged me on Friday night at a tournament. I'm like, why is Dave bugging me? I'm looking down my phone. He said, have you seen it yet? I'm like, no, I haven't. He goes, you said I cried. And I'm like, what a nerd. So that was the first thought that went through my head. And I walked out of that film and I cried twice. This movie. This is the best monster movie. Calling it a monster movie is a disservice to what this film is. I cannot wait to get into details about this. Yeah, I was trying to mess with John a little bit. This is a beautiful film, and it tricks you. It totally tricks you into what it is. The 7-year it did not pass the 7-year-old test. I will say that. And
Really? Too boring
wanted
in
more.
places?
He wanted more monsters.
Yeah.
And I'll say
All right.
I've always said, and I'm gonna take the L here. I've always said I do not care about what these people between monster attacks are interested in. None of them matter. I was wrong. These people. This was a great story surrounding this film.
All right, John.
I completely agree. This is. I'm not sure which is my favorite, this one or Shin Godzilla, but
I like this one better.
Yeah, I think I might go with that too, and only because of all the Godzilla movies I've ever seen, this is the one where you care about the human beings. This is. Oh.
Go ahead.
Yes, Kassan. Character trumps plot, and
the plot's real. The plot's real simple.
I know, but the characters, the way they like the characters they gave us were just awesome, and it wasn't like the American Godzilla movies where you've got the main characters playing around at the feet of the monsters while the monsters are battling. Nobody's getting hurt. And you're like, I don't care about this. This one you're like, you're actually in fear for their freaking lives.
So
and the CGI on this was incredible.
It's phenomenal.
And I saw a short interview with the director on Corridor Crew, Corridor Crew. They do reviews of CGI in movies, and they do their own CGI. Sometimes they try to do it better than the original movies.
Yeah, I love that. I know what you're talking about. I love that channel. Go ahead.
And the thing is, the director also does CGI. He's done that work before, and he was like, we're like trying to beg, borrow, and steal on our minuscule budget, enough processing power to put out these pixels. And sometimes I just pull up a computer and start working on it myself. I'm like, that's the director, man.
Yeah.
And you could tell they knew what the hell they were doing. Like, this looks better than anything Marvel's put out in a while.
100%.
On $15 million. Yeah.
It's unbelievable how great this movie looks.
On $15 million.
Unbelievable.
It's better than the MonsterVerse stuff, and that stuff has got budgets of $160 and $170 million consecutively.
I like the MonsterVerse stuff. I think that stuff looks pretty good too. But this, I don't want to say it looks great for the budget because it just looks great, But I mean, I like the MonsterVerse, but this is it's different too. Like, it looks like the MonsterVerse goes for this big high action thing, and this one plays it off. I saw regular screen. I didn't pay. I didn't pay for the IMAX. I'm cheap as fuck.
Kassan said, "Did you watch IMAX regular?" I watched the regular.
My ears are too old for the IMAX stuff. Like, I literally have to bring in earplugs if I go into IMAX because they've got the volume up way too high.
All the way, yeah.
It was like $55 for me and the kid to go to see the movie and we got some treats. Like, I can get another $10 a seat. No, I'm good. No, man, I can't get over how good the cinematography was in this movie.
Oh yeah, they actually made you feel that Godzilla was a monster, like just this CGI guy walking across a miniature set.
Not just that stuff, but just like in the moments in between, it's like the climactic shot of the movie that I'm sure is one brought Dave to tears. The shot is beautiful. It's blue. There's just enough splashes of white. Like, this I don't know who the cinematographer is, but man, can the guy compose it? Can the guy compose an image? It's unbelievable.
Dave?
Unbelievable. Dave.
So what I was trying to say is, like, I'd have to tell you this. You guys are big Godzilla fans, right? So that's why I agreed to do this movie. But I've never been
kicking and screaming, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't really want to do it, and you can ask Joey. I was like, I don't really want to go to the theater for this, so I was like, Joey, where do you normally download movies from? And I went and checked, and like, it wasn't available on any of the services because it just came out this weekend, so I wasn't able to get it. Like,
if it was available from a quote unquote service, like now, that would not be something that we could condone on the show.
So I was doing everything in my power to like pirate the movie. I'll say it. I don't care. And watch it at home. And I was like, I couldn't do it. I'm like, fine, I'll go. So I go to the movies. I get my popcorn and soda, and I'm sitting there, and I'm ready to like. First off, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I feel like they're showing way more commercials at the start of the movies now.
Andy
This
said
one
that.
was bad. This
Yeah. Andy said that. My 7-year-old's like, Dad, there's so many commercials. Yeah.
There was 25 minutes of commercials at mine, and then another.
Yeah,
10
the movie was
minutes
supposed to start at
previews.
The movie was supposed to start at 3:50. I was 5 minutes late getting there. 5 minutes late getting to my seat, and the movie, the previews didn't start until 10 after 4, I think it was.
Ugh.
Yeah, so it was 20 minutes of commercials from the time the movie was supposed to start.
And I had repeats of commercials. I saw that damn Eminem with the mime commercial twice. It's like, why are you showing this to me twice?
But like, I'm sitting there like, I'm like, now I'm at the point where like, I'm gonna fall asleep. I don't want to watch this. I'm like so pissed off. By the time this movie was over, I was like, oh my God, this is probably the best movie I've seen this year. Like,
Dave, I thought the same thing, man.
Like,
a lot of people are starting to say that. You know, like
it's such a good movie, such a good story, and like, we'll get into this, but Godzilla's almost insignificant.
But he isn't insignificant. Like he's kind of a MacGuffin, right?
Yes.
Which is what a good Godzilla movie should one, right? And like, I get why the one scene happens. Like, I get why this got to Dave. You know, there was one scene that I was like, I get it. I get why this moved Dave. And then it moved me. So I was like, I was shocked. I was shocked by this one.
All right. So maybe we spoiled a little bit. I don't know. If you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want spoilers, then this is a good place to bail out. If you don't care, here we go. So here's the thing. I am terrible with names.
Yes.
And I'm going to be even worse with Japanese names. So let's agree.
I can do the Japanese names.
Yeah, but we're not gonna be able to keep saying them over and over again. So the main character is a kamikaze pilot. What's his name, John?
Shikishima.
Say that again?
Shikishima.
That's the character's name. What's the actor's name?
Oh, Kamaki Ryunosuke. Ryunosuke.
We're a bunch of white guys trying to pronounce Japanese. So like,
Kamaki Ryunosuke. I sometimes I have to pronounce it out if I haven't read it before. But
so the movie starts out, and so first thing people need to understand: the movie takes place like at the end of World War II.
It's a prequel. This is a prequel.
Now,
well, it's kind of a soft reboot.
Do you know why
it
is
kind of a soft? Yeah.
Do you know why the movie's called -1? I've heard a couple different things.
That's a great question. Why is it called -1?
Okay,
it kind of well, I mean, in one way, if you look at it, it happens before the original 1954 movie.
Right, that's what I heard. Is that because some people consider the original movie Godzilla 0 or Godzilla 1, something like that. So this is why they're calling this -1, because it's technically a prequel. It's before the original movie.
Well, but a soft reboot too, because if this had actually happened in that timeline, the other one would have been completely different. But
yeah, that's what I thought too. I mean, like it really. I mean, the Godzilla timelines are all fast and loose. And I told Andy in this. I said, you need to remember. I said, you need to remember, buddy. This isn't the MonsterVerse Godzilla. I told him. I said, this isn't the good guy Godzilla, because he loves Godzilla, and like he loves that Godzilla and Kong are teaming up in the next one. Again, he's 7, so I try to explain to him. I said, "Bud, this is a different But I said, when this is a different universe Godzilla, he went, "Oh, okay," which is crazy that 7-year-olds now understand what that means. So we curse Marvel up and down, but we've gotten parallel Earths over to children.
And because of Japanese culture, they consider groups of these movies different eras. Because they were made by the same teams. So like the 1954 is the Showa era, and that goes to 1975.
Okay, Clancy might be right. I kind of like that. Godzilla -1 equals Godzilla 0. So
Sure. Okay.
yeah, that's kind of a clever way to do it. So it's near the end of World War II. This plane, we see this Japanese plane land on an island, which is a repair island, and we find out that our hero, our main character, is a kamikaze pilot who's there to get his plane fixed. And through talking with the mechanics, what, did you not catch that?
No, I got that, John. You know why it's called the Showa era?
Well,
because it's related to the political era. It's the Emperor of Japan, Emperor Showa.
Oh, okay.
So stuff made after his reign is not the Showa. It would be the Heisei era. The Heisei era, excuse me. Interesting. Just learned that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if we called things by like the American president?
And then the Millennium era. Well, actually, on here on my list, it's like the Showa era, the Heisei era, the Millennium era, the Reiwa era, and then the American films, which don't go to.
So, real quick, while he pops in before bed, what was your review of the Godzilla movie? We're talking about it right now.
Pretty good.
You liked it pretty good? Do you like the MonsterVerse ones better though?
Yeah.
More action. What didn't you like about this one? What was it? What did you say you didn't like about it?
The wall.
They tricked us. It's not a monster movie. It's a love story.
So he wouldn't like Shin Godzilla because of all the political parts of that.
Go over a 7-year-old's head. I've never shown him Shin Godzilla, but yeah, this is a love story.
Yeah. Well, we haven't gotten to that yet. So through the dialogue, you find out like there's nothing wrong with the plane. So the mechanic kind of like, without saying it, says like, "Oh, you've abandoned." Because the kamikaze pilot, for those who don't know, I don't know how you don't know because we all had to take history in school. But
have you seen the American education system?
Kamikaze
pilot.
I'm
a teacher. You're right.
Would fly their planes into the boats and kill themselves. And
it was considered an honor to do so, to put down your life to save your loved ones.
That's the point. Classy says, "Wait a minute. This movie takes place after World War II." And we say after, we mean like 5 minutes, like 5 minutes after.
World War II just ended.
So they lost since they wouldn't have weapons that could affect Godzilla. That is a major plot point of the film.
Yes.
It's how the fuck do we beat the giant lizard?
Right. So while he's on this island, night comes, and of course Godzilla shows up. It's not the full-grown Godzilla. He's not, ginormous yet.
It's not Godzuki either.
It's like King Kong 33. I think about 1933 King Kong. It's like that size Godzilla.
Yeah. Ends up killing.
He was about 8 stories high.
And then of course the head mechanic tells our kamikaze pilot to go get to his gun on the plane because that should be strong enough to hurt this creature. Which again, yes, we find out later that probably wouldn't have worked. But
we don't know because later on they show Godzilla getting hit by the Bikini Atoll nuclear tests. So we don't know whether he had that power regeneration before.
No, but he's getting shot a bunch and he's eating those bullets.
Yes, no, he was by the smaller caliber bullets. Didn't see him hit the 20 caliber.
I still don't think the 22s would have affected him.
Yeah, but, that was a gamble.
Yeah, it's a gamble. Yeah, which our hero doesn't take. And he was Class says, I mean, there should be American military bases. Japan was part of the surrender. My history segment. Yeah, 100% Classy. That is all worked into the movie.
Yeah, this is almost kind of a different history.
Right, and also you need to realize, like, again, we're right at the end of the war. Like, it's funny. Someone has said this to me before, but it's true. When we learn history, we learn dates and things that happen. In our minds, it was like this, but it's like no, it's years. Like from the time the Declaration of Independence was signed to the end of the Revolutionary War and those kinds, or the lead up to the Revolutionary War. That was years and years and years. But we think it was like in a weekend.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. He freezes. He gets to the gun, but then he freezes shooting to shoot Godzilla.
Because he's already suffering from basically PTSD.
Right.
And he's not the kind of person that wants to off himself, and shooting at a 8-story monster is probably a good way to off yourself. So
stressful moment.
Yeah. So basically, everyone but him and the main mechanic die.
And
I
the mechanic's like, thanks a lot for letting all of our friends die. You dick.
like there's a scene on the island between the two of them where he's like, "Yeah, you froze up. You're a disgrace. All this stuff." They show them on a boat going back to Japan, the main island, and the mechanic hands him this little package and walks away. And here, the package is photos of all the men that died on the island. So
and their families, like
right,
which is very dishonorable. Like it's a dishonor in Japanese culture.
Yeah, like, and I want to say that too. Like, there's a underlining thing with him in the movie about him disgracing his honor because he didn't kamikaze and kill himself during the war, and like especially in today's world, I think people might not understand that, and they might have a hard time wrapping their brain around that. But like was a big thing in Japanese culture, is honor.
I'm going to talk about this when we're done with the plot summary. This movie is uniquely Japanese in that it embraces samurai culture and ultimately it becomes a rejection of it, which I think is what really makes the film work. But continue.
Okay, so then like that's part of the scene too. He gets back to Tokyo, like it's destroyed from the war, like just rubble everywhere. Like I can't even imagine what it was like in these countries that were devastated after World War II. And I think they're trying to give you a feel of it here. Like I think it was well done, but yeah, I don't think anyone can understand. And of course he runs into his neighbor, his parents' neighbor, and like Sumiko, and she's angry because she finds out he was a kamikaze pilot and he came back, so he didn't do what he was supposed to do, and that becomes like a plot point. And of course you find out that his parents died in the bombings, so he starts living in in their house, which that's
what's
another
left
thing.
of it. Everything was rubble.
Yeah. That's another interesting thing too. Like back then you could do that. Nowadays you can't just like move into your parents' house. If you come back from a war and find out they're dead, I don't think you can. You'd have to fill out paperwork.
Let's hope we never find out.
Yeah. So then here's where the twist, the real twist of the movie comes, is he's in town, he's having lunch. There's a woman running down the street being chased by men. She's carrying something. She hands it to him and then runs off. And then he realizes what he handed her, what she handed him was a baby. And he thinks about like she never comes back. He thinks about leaving the baby. He can't because he's a good person. He's walking away, and then she shows back up, and they end up living together. What did you guys think about that? Like, was that a plausible scenario?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'd say in that situation, absolutely. It's not her daughter, right?
Right.
So she finds this orphaned baby, and like she can't get rid of it. Just the same way he can't turn his back on these two people who need help. So this becomes like a de facto family, even though they're not really at first, right? But they are, and it's this kind of codependency situation.
Yeah, and they're all dealing with PTSD. Like she watched her parents burn to death while telling her to go live. He's still dealing with survivor's guilt from being a failed kamikaze pilot and what happened
on the island.
The island. So like they're all
the little
broken.
girl. Yeah, the little girl is like the child. The offspring of two parents who are dead.
Gone. Yeah,
are gone. Thank you. So like this is it sets this real interesting pseudo family like dynamic. And they have to figure out how to, and that's what I love about this movie, is it's really about how do we go on? That's really the story. This whole movie's theme is how do we move forward? Like how do we move past tragedy? And that's what I think that makes this movie very different than a lot of Godzilla movies, which is really like about destruction, right? And the cost of things. This movie really is more interested in how does it get better? How do we fix this?
Because then what happens is he gets a job, but the job is destroying the land,
detonating mines,
detonating
mines.
the sea mines that both the Americans and the Japanese left in the ocean around the islands, which I'm
was a
sure
real job back then.
I was about to say, and I'm sure it was a ginormous problem that they had to take care of. And like, and it's funny because he shows up and like there's a rickety old boat that he has to get on.
And they're using a wooden boat so that they don't attract the magnetic mines, which would automatically detonate.
Exactly.
It's just it was a bad
we meet our other main characters here. So we've got, I'm just going to call them by their nicknames. The captain, there's Doc, and there's the kid on the boat. And and like then we go through like they all have their roles in this little team, and like then all of a sudden it's 3 years later and he's doing this job, and they show like that he built the house back up, like, and then this is where the movie fascinates me, because people listening, you realize we had Godzilla a little bit in the beginning. I haven't talked about him in a while yet. Like there's a lot that goes on this movie before we ever see Godzilla again.
But this is where they show the nuclear test from Operation Crossroads, aka the Bikini Atoll Islands.
Yes.
Where they, they basically detonated a few bombs, and they show Godzilla being mutated by that, which is just ducky considering he already had a really bad temper.
And it's funny because they do it through like a news report, which I thought was interesting, and I was curious about this in Japan because it was in English. This news report that comes out, and they're talking about the nuclear.
Well, it was from the American side because it was the American boats that were going down.
Right. But like, do you think in Japan it's in English, or do you think that's in Japanese? Okay,
no,
but
that's 100%. Most Japanese people speak some English, and there's it's cultural. Like a lot of them dig American words, right? Like in Japanese pro wrestling, we always see this where guys will have the Americanization of their name with all caps, right? And it's a statement, right? Yeah. So like there's this movie is kind to neither the American government nor the Japanese government.
No, it's
which is unusual because normally these things are government rah rah rah. They'll take on Godzilla.
Not this one.
Not at all. No.
So it made this movie very, very unique. Continue, Dave.
And realistic.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, they do a news flash where you see like, okay, here's the experiments, which obviously caused Godzilla to grow.
You know what happens here.
Right.
Yeah.
The U.S. can't get involved because they're worried about the Soviets, and the Japanese government is too busy rebuilding because from the war still and whatnot. So
and they probably don't believe that the problem is that big.
So then when these guys are out doing their work, we get our first encounter with giant Godzilla. Oh no, that's right. They weren't working. That's right, because there was in that news report a boat had gotten destroyed, and they sent them out to investigate with some other boats, and that's when we see Godzilla. So, and we get a cool little like chase scene. What were you thinking at this point? What did you think of this scene with the?
I was thinking this is so cool.
It looked so good. I mean,
the look on Godzilla's face is like, oh no, that's a monster. That's like, he was like, I'm gonna eat you.
Yeah. You are in my way.
Yeah. Again, most of the Godzilla movies are like, there's Godzilla walking through, the city or whatever, and like there's no personality to the monster. They gave a personality to Godzilla in this.
Get out of my way, motherfucker! Like that is Godzilla the entire film. Like
I'm sorry, did you shoot at me? You need to die for that.
He's an animal, right? And I love. There's a line in this when Godzilla finally does wash ashore. It just sets up the future too. He's made Tokyo his territory now, and that's what he's doing. He's coming up to Wreck Shop to say, "This is mine now. You people can live here if you want, as long as you understand that you work for me, motherfucker."
Yeah.
Right. And the whole plot and the whole like plot point at the end, where like we're just going to lure him back by playing his own voice at him, so we'll think there's another monster and get territorial. I was like, oh, you just set up all the rest of the movies.
Yeah,
you just explained Godzilla's babyface turn.
Yeah,
he doesn't love humanity. He doesn't want anyone else to screw up his town because it's his. God damn it!
Yeah,
like any animal. Like he treat Godzilla like an animal in this movie, which I really liked.
And unlike a lot of the other Godzilla movies where they are very specific about not showing Godzilla actually eating or killing people,
oh boy!
In this one, he's just chomping on people all over the place and pasting people everywhere. Just with his tail, with his feet, just death and destruction.
Not because he's hungry, but because he can.
Right.
And the funny thing is, like, this isn't just a chase scene for the sake of a chase scene. Like, they establish a lot about Godzilla in the scene. So they have 2 mines on their little boat. They send 1 mine out. It hits him. It blows up, but it doesn't hurt him.
Shells,
right?
The scales.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then they get him to eat one of the mines. They shoot it, and it blows up.
Roy Shire
style.
And like.
Also known as the Jaws kill shot.
You see like all this damage on his face, and he's like laying there, and then it heals, and it was like
one of the best regeneration. Like
that was so cool. Where you see Godzilla's face regenerate, then he's like, "Now you have to die."
Yeah, exactly.
Now you have to die, and then a warship comes over.
A battleship shows up. Yeah,
comes and gives Godzilla more bombs. Like, okay, they have to die more. Because they're annoying me more than you guys are.
Right. And that's how our 4 heroes get away, because he's distracted by the warship. Yeah.
And then the
rest of the time we see the atomic breath too.
Yeah, it's where he unveils that's very cool.
Well, we didn't see it then.
We just saw him warming it up. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. And then we go back to the mainland, and then everyone's got to figure out what the hell do we do with this thing? How do we figure out what to do? And this is another like. And again, this whole thing plays off this pseudo family because like these 2 people, and this is like the core of the movie, is our protagonist and his love interest, even though she's not, like he rejects her. Like they're like, oh, this is your wife. He's like, no, it's not my wife. And she's like, oh, you have to move on and meet somebody. Like they clearly love each other. But again, he's still, and they say this many times, he's still fighting the war. Like this movie has more in common with like Coming Home or First Blood than any other Godzilla movie. This is like
Born on the 4th of July.
Born on the 4th of July. Yeah, it takes so many influences from those type of movies with our lead character. And he's literally, and it's so Japanese here, where he's talking about being haunted. He has a dream sequence. He's haunted by the ghosts of the men that he let down. Right? And he's not literally haunted by their ghosts, but it's their figurative ghosts. And they're haunting his dreams, and it's his guilt. Again, something very tied to the Japanese culture. This concept, right? And it just it's driving the movie, and it drives a wedge between these 2 characters, right? And she gets a job in Ginza, which was largely untouched from the bomb, so she's going to work, to help provide. And they're the richest people in town because he's working blowing up mines. He's rebuilding his house. Everyone else lives in squalor around him.
And that's an important scene too, right? Like when she tells him, "I got a job," like he almost wants to say, like, "No, I want to take care of you. Don't take this job." But he can't say that he loves her and wants to marry her, so he's got to let her go take the job. Yeah, right. I mean it's such a beautiful story between.
It's beautiful. And then like when Godzilla comes back, right? They're like, "Oh shit." And he's like, "Oh my god, it's going to Ginza!" Like it's just it's right out of like just right out of any old movie where he's got to rush in, and you have one of the most amazing. And this is when Godzilla comes to Ginza and starts destroying the mainland, where he's just like, "Fuck you, fuck you! I'm gonna eat your train!" And it's just amazing.
Okay.
She just
okay. So a couple things about the scene. Number one, am I wrong, or was there a shot where it felt like the train was a model? Like it looked.
Yeah,
it didn't bother me.
Only
it
was.
I noticed.
Yeah, it wasn't as noticeable as it has been in other.
No.
In others.
No, and it made me wonder like quite a few things. Like how much of this movie was practical and how much was it CGI, or did they do that on purpose? Was it CGI?
No, they pulled a Baby Yoda on this. What they did was they made the CGI first,
Okay.
And then they made a practical model, a large scale practical model based on the CGI. Normally they do it the other way around and it sucks.
Right.
But with Baby Yoda, they did it right that way. They did it they did the puppet first and then they did the CGI the CGI and then they did the puppet off of that.
Right.
So it's almost indistinguishable, which one is which. So there are practical effects in there. And the thing is, the CGI is so good because of the director, and the practical effects it merges so well. Like, I don't know. Like sometimes you're not sure which is which.
Oh, I agree. I didn't even think. I was so lost in the movie. I wasn't even thinking about special effects. The scene where his let's call her his wife, and I can't remember what's her name again, John. What's the name of the love interest name?
Oh, the love interest that was Oishi.
Oishi. She's hanging from. She's the only person left in the train, and he goes, "Oh, she's like Tom Cruise," because he didn't. He's going for a Mission Impossible kick right now. So
no, if she were Tom Cruise, she would have been running in the next scene.
Well, to be fair, she was.
So,
no, she was just walking until he came up.
That is true. There's way too. Yeah, I'll get that. But she's hanging from there, and then she falls in the water, and then they bomb Godzilla, and all the people stop to watch to make sure Godzilla dies, and then Godzilla's like one time, "Fuck you," and they're like, "Ah!" and they have to start running again.
Well, that's a cool shot too because he comes out of the cloud dust.
It's so great. This, like I said, the cinematography in this movie is just so
you've got
good.
You've got the news crew on the building
awesome.
Filming him. And then his tail hits the bottom of the building, and so the building starts collapsing, and they're all just go.
What I love about that wasn't intentional, right? Because these people don't matter to Godzilla. They're ants, man.
Right.
The people are just ants. They're just in his way. It's all this stuff that he doesn't understand, that he doesn't like. I'm just going to knock this stuff away because it's in my way, right? It's just the cold indifference of nature.
Yeah.
Until the ants start firing tanks at him.
Then he gets pissed. Then he's like, "Oh, fuck you!" and he blows the fire for the first time. And like again, very, very, very much the core of what Godzilla is about. Because back in '54, Godzilla is a parable film about the destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yes.
Right. The whole movie plays off very much like a not so obvious, way to tell that story.
Right.
This does the same thing, but takes it to a different level, right? So you have this scene where the fire blows, right, and all these people are dying, and he tries to save his wife, his would-be wife, and she's blown away into the ether essentially, and she dies.
Wait! You're missing an important part.
What did I miss?
She pushes him out of the way into an alley, and then she's blown away. And it's like, you're like, oh my God. Yeah, she saved him.
And I told Andy that. I looked at Andy and said, she loves him so much, she saved him. He goes, why didn't she jump in there with him? And I said, plot convenience.
Because that's the Avengers Coulson gets killed moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like,
and it needed to happen. It needed to happen because this jump starts. Because this is really the moment that jump starts him back into He goes, okay, I am what I am. I am a kamikaze pilot. And then we get our second Jaws inspired scene, where you have the town meeting to figure out how we're going to kill the monster.
Oh yeah, I didn't think it that way. Yeah,
right out of Jaws. So they're like, and then the doctor's like, I have a plan, and it's based on Freon bubbles, and I'm like, this is convoluted as hell, but I like it. It's creative.
Oh yeah, basically. Go
ahead, John. You're smarter than me.
Basically, what they're doing is they're putting Freon bubbles around because Freon is a much less dense.
Right, and then it negates his buoyancy
gas.
And makes him sink.
It basically puts him in a chute, to fall straight down into the depths, which rapid compression like that would normally kill just about anything. And then they lift him back up again, and that makes all the nitrogen in your blood immediately expand. Normally that would kill somebody. It's called giving you embolisms all over your body.
So and essentially they're trying to kill Godzilla by giving him the bends.
But the super bends.
Yes, like the mega bends.
But here's the thing: when they took that cloak off of the model, I'm sure a lot of people are sitting there going, "It's the oxygen destroyer, isn't it?" From the original. I thought it was going to be the oxygen destroyer.
No, I didn't know what they were going to do. So this is the rest of the movie is and they tell us like this is not a government thing. This is not a military thing.
Right.
This is the citizens of Japan. They make this like this, the citizens have to fight back. And I'm like, oh my God, that's what this is. I mean, like this is the moment that it really like calcified in my brain what they were going for. Like this is a story saying it's the people of Japan that have to rebuild, not the governments, not these social systems. It's you and me. It's the people that have to. And I was like, oh my God, this is so well written. And but again, our hero's like, you know what? It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
And our hero has,
Mm-hmm.
well, the hero goes, I'm the only person that heard it. We can hurt it from the inside. So he's like, I'm going to become a fighter. I'm going to become a pilot one more time, and I'm going to fly into his mouth.
So again,
wait. Sorry, Dave. Just one thing. The idea of the citizens banding together and working towards a common goal it's ingrained in Japanese culture because of the island they live on with earthquakes and all this other and their history.
Japan, like I said, this movie is uniquely Japanese.
Yeah. And it's one of the reasons why, like, if you see a bunch of Japanese people go to an American ball game or something, and when everybody else is leaving, they're picking up all the garbage, because they have this idea that the citizens have to work together to keep things clean, to help people that are in trouble. Like it's just a deep part of their culture, and we could learn from that actually.
So again, our hero at this point has to figure out how he's going to fly. They have a experimental fighter plane.
Right. I was going to say,
Yeah.
plot convenience. Doc has this plane that they had developed at the end of the war, but never got really used. I love that. Like,
I think that plane's actually real.
It is.
Germany had a whole bunch of planes they never used either that actually would turn things around had they used them.
Nobody plans to lose a war when you lose the war.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. It's been sitting so long and it doesn't really work, and they need a mechanic to come fix it. And our hero does not want to go up unless it's the mechanic that he from the war that he was on the island with. Like they go through a search. The mechanic shows up one night, and I think that was also one of the
beats his ass.
But I also think it's one of the best scenes in the movie is the confrontation between the two of them, where like he's like basically it comes down to like, well, why should I help you? And our hero goes, because the war's not over for you either. You know, and like these are two broken men that, oh my God, I'm going to tear up. These are two broken men that need each other to get over their trauma from the war. You know, and that's what it boils down to. That's what a lot of this movie boils down to is like people need each other.
And because they have shared tragedy,
yes,
that helps. By the way, the plane is actually real. It's the Kyushu J7W Shinden, and it was actually finished just as the war ended.
So I think it's also a good.
They did their research.
Again, as you said, JD being a very Japanese movie, it's a good contrast here where the Doc's plan. His idea is that we can stop Godzilla and no one has to die when we do this. Like that's what he wants.
That's like when this whole movie takes an interesting turn, right? Because these Godzilla movies can really easily fall into like torture porn or like, destruction porn. And it's part of the fun is watching the destruction. But this movie really calls it out and says, we don't have to die to beat this. And people are like, is this going to work? And he's like, maybe, but we got to try something.
We got to try.
I love that. And it's really trying to band people together, and that's what they do. They trap Godzilla, right? They lure him in with the plane, and like they're luring him out with the sound of his own voice to piss him off, to say, "Hey, we got another Godzilla up here," and he's like, "You got another Godzilla? Fuck you!" And he's coming back up.
Fuck that Godzilla! I'll show you.
Yeah, I will show you. And then,
but then the contrast is our hero thinks, no, the only way to stop this is I have to die. I have to sacrifice myself. Fly into his mouth with a bomb and blow him up.
I have to fit it because he says if I had done my job, if I was, because again he told a couple of times, if you had done your job as a samurai, maybe we don't, or as a kamikaze pilot, maybe we don't lose, which is bullshit. But like again, that was cultural a lot to think that. Maybe if I had jumped in that plane to shoot them, maybe I could have killed Godzilla. Also bullshit, right?
Yeah, wouldn't have worked.
But it's this cult, and I love that it's this culturally ingrained idea of sacrifice, of self-sacrifice, seppuku, right? There's the action of the samurai culture thing. So he thinks he has to embrace that while everyone around him is moving in another direction.
Yes.
Right. But he's still fighting the war.
Yep.
Right. He's still fighting the war, which again, the Japanese propaganda used during the war was embracing the samurai culture, the samurai mythos. You know, you're going to fight with your two swords. Like you're going to do that. And like, so he's got the plane. The plane, by the way, is full of bombs. He's going to fly in. And so they try this. They wrap Godzilla in the Freon. He sinks. Continue.
Wait, I was going to say, before we get to that, it's the morning of, like, they're getting ready to do all of this. And the mechanic is going over, like, here's how you arm the bomb. Here's how you do this. And then he goes, oh, and there's one more thing. And then we cut that scene. And I'm like, you kind of have an idea of what is said.
I missed it.
Not sure. Oh,
I missed it. I missed that line, and I'm really glad I did.
So he goes, yeah, there's one more thing they cut. Yes, they go through with the plan. He uses the Godzilla comes onto the land. That's the other thing. Godzilla was early. Like they were expecting him to still be in the water, but he gets on the land. So the plane comes, distracts him. They lure him back out to the sea. They want to do it over the trench. What was the name of the trench, John?
I forget too.
Oh, okay. Because I think isn't that supposed to be where, spoiler, he comes out of in the original movie? Isn't he supposed to
deep
come
trench?
Out
Deep trench. It's fine. Continue.
So they distract him. They basically another part is they don't want a little subplot. Like they tell the kid not to go because everyone else is older and has been through the war. The kid was never through the war. But he's like, but I want to help save my country too, right? Like I thought that was a good little sub thing. They do the plan. They sink him, but doesn't work. They then bring him back up real quick, and as he's coming up, he chews off the balloons, and he's stuck at 800 feet below the surface, or meters. I don't remember, whatever. And they're trying to pull him up, and they can't. And then here comes the kid with a bunch of people in tugboats, and they were able to pull to bring Godzilla up, and they get him up.
Rough.
He looks. He's damaged, but he ain't out. And
nope. Again, one more time, Godzilla looks and goes, "Oh fuck you!" and he charges up. I love the spikes jutting out and turning blue. And then here comes our hero in the ship, or in the plane. Godzilla opens his mouth. He flies right in. Kaboom!
Okay,
right? And
wait.
You're like, go ahead.
In my theater, when the plane, you're watching the plane fly in. You know the music's playing. The plane hits, and you got that one moment of silence, and some toddler in my theater took that exact moment to go bye-bye, and everybody in my audience lost it.
Ruined it.
Everybody in my, like, we're all laughing, but I'm like, you know.
That's a shame
because it's just perfect timing.
In my head, I'm like, he did it. He's the kamikaze. He finally did it. And then when the smoke clears, you see the parachute, and he chose life. And they cut back to the mechanic saying, here is the escape hatch. Here is, you parachute out.
He said this plane has an ejection seat.
Yeah. He's like,
and I'm like,
he choose life.
And that's when you knew the mechanic truly forgave him as well.
And it's like this beautiful moment where the war ends for him. Because again, it's not about death. He finally says, we don't have to die. We don't have to die. We can live. And he does. He chooses to live. And at that point, I'm like, oh, I get why Dave cried. And I started crying too. And Andy's like, Dad, why are you crying? And I'm like, because it's a beautiful scene. He's like, yeah, I guess. Like,
I want to say, too, like, not only is it a very Japanese thing, it's also a very guy thing, I think.
No, it is. But again, it's like it's the reject. What I loved about this is it's the rejection of the samurai culture,
right? That
is a bit morbid, that embraces death. And the whole idea of this movie is we don't have to sacrifice. We can fight really hard to live. Fight really hard to push for life, not death. So he lands and everybody cheers, and his neighbor brings back his daughter and he hugs her, and then she hits him a few times. Like, she's mad at him, and he's like, what do you want from me? I just killed Godzilla. Godzilla probably does blow up and he sinks. And she gives him a telegram, and he looks at her like, no way. And then this is a little mega happy, but it works, right?
Yeah.
Him and the daughter run to the hospital. They go in, and she's alive. She's beat up. She's possibly missing an eye. She's all bandaged up. But he sees her, and in that moment, he realizes that if he had followed the old way, if he had done the kamikaze path, he would have cheated himself out of knowing his one true love was still alive. And instead, because he chose life, life chose him. And it's just this it's corny, yes, but it is a beautiful moment in a film that works so well. And she is just this embodiment of what Japan is in 1946.
And
beaten up, beautiful, but the opportunity for life is still there.
And the movie ends with her asking, "So is your war finally over?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Yes."
Yes. Actually, the movie.
No,
finally
that's
ends
not
when
where the
you see-
movie ended.
That's not where the movie ends. The movie ends because where you're underwater, you see Godzilla regenerating because you had to. It was still. They're like, we made a Godzilla movie. He's coming back.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, we know.
But it was like, this movie had no fucking business being this good. Like, as a real movie, they made a real movie with a monster.
Yeah,
Best
for
monster
$15
movie
million.
It's the best monster movie ever made.
And I had to read subtitles, and I loved it.
Oh, you wiener! You complain about reading subtitles in a movie.
See, I don't even notice. I like some Japanese words I pick up now because I've watched so much anime, but the subtitles, it's just like I just automatically do that. I don't even realize I'm doing it anymore.
Andy was cool with it because he knows he can read, but he can't read soup. He's not good enough to read conversational.
Yeah,
you know. So it's like he was able to when they took beats, he was like, oh, okay. He was following along, but like when they had like conversations, he had a harder time following because he's 7. You know, he's still he's still learning how to read, and it's good. I think I'm going to do this again, make him watch some movies like this with these and help him get his reading skills up. But I mean, man, I was like, they tricked. I just remember thinking, they tricked me. I thought I was going to see a monster movie, and I saw a love story, and it worked.
And a movie about the survival of the human spirit.
Yeah, it really is. Unlike Shin Godzilla, which is really a movie about look how bad stuff can get if you let bureaucracy get in the way. Like Shin Godzilla is a dark film. This is not a dark film. For all the destruction and chaos, this is a movie, like you said, Dave, the triumph of the human spirit.
Yep.
Which goes to show you that's 2 Godzilla films in a row that are like, yeah, government not really going to save you, and you know, it's just like
what was the other?
That's unusual because like
Shin
the American, the American films are like they're made in conjunction with like the Army and Navy so that they can get scale models or flybys, you know, on film and such from the actual armed forces, and they get paid for that, and they're not allowed to show the U.S. Armed Forces in a bad light. But this,
Japan
normally go ahead.
Japan is one of the few countries that's not allowed to go to war, right?
Right. They have the SDF, the Self-Defense Force, and that's all they're allowed.
But their culture has taken pride in the fact that we are the only country who, by law, cannot go to war. Yeah. And this really kind of embraces that whole aspect of it. We're in the U.S., we got no problem going to war. We'll start a war tomorrow. You know, so this is far and away the smartest. I think Shin Godzilla was smart, but that was like, it's dark, you know, it's very pessimistic, Shin Godzilla. This is the opposite. This is a Godzilla movie about hope. And I was moved by it. I cannot believe how good it was. I went expecting just a good old time of seeing a monster movie romp, and I did not get that, and I've never been more happy that my expectations were not met.
I'd go see this again.
I would.
Yeah, too. I mean, what we had Godzilla in the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Yeah.
When you really think
about Godzilla too. It could have been Showa era Godzilla or Godzuki or you know. But no, this was good Godzilla. Or bad
It
Godzilla.
worked. Bad Godzilla. I
Bad
told Andy,
Godzilla,
remember,
yeah.
and I said, remember, this version of Godzilla is not the good guy. This
Yeah.
is not a good guy Godzilla. This is a bad guy Godzilla. And
He's
like,
a
I
force of
understand.
nature in this movie.
He
Really.
is a force of nature, but when I'm relating stuff to a 7-year-old who was like the whole time he's like justifying Godzilla's destruction. He's like, those people shot at him when they didn't have to. He's defending himself. These people are shooting at Godzilla. Like, again, my kid loves Godzilla, and he's right though to point out that human nature is to attack something we don't understand, and actual nature is like, well, again, fuck you, you know.
Yeah, but
So, yeah,
Here's a
he was
hurricane.
destroying and killing hundreds of thousands of people. So yeah.
But again, it is that, and that's a lot of takes Godzilla movies have taken. Is like humanity always lashes out against what it doesn't understand, and then when it lashes back, we cry victim.
Yeah.
That's Shin Godzilla. This movie was different. This movie is like Godzilla is a force of nature. He's neither good nor evil. He is like a hurricane. He is like a bomb that got dropped. He is something that is out of our control, and the more we try to control it, the less control we have over it. But life can go on.
And like the lessons of the original Godzilla movies, humans made it worse with the nuclear bomb. That's one of the core lessons of the original 1954 Godzilla is it's the hubris of man playing around with the creation of matter.
Yeah, because Godzilla was very happy to wash up on this one little island every now and then and cause some trouble and go back to the water, take a nap, and then we had to make it worse.
Yeah.
What a good movie.
All right.
My favorite movie of the year.
Let's all right, well let's then you can go first. Let's wrap it up. Final thoughts and give it a rating 1 out of 10.
This movie is so much smarter than it has any right to be. It's filmed so much better than it has any right to be. When people make fun of a Godzilla movie, you can say, you should actually watch Godzilla -1. And people will laugh at you and they'll watch it. And if they give it if they open their mind to it, they'll be surprised at how smart, and more importantly, because Shin Godzilla is smart, this has heart.
Yeah.
And that's what I think separates this from just about everything else in this genre. Is there's never been a film like this with more heart, with more care, with more thought. And I hate rating these things. I always tend to make fun of it, but man, this is it's like a 9.5, man. Like, this was great.
High praise indeed. All right, John.
I'm giving it a 9.5 too. Like, no thought needed. It was just, it is so good that I want to go see it again in theater. Like, this is one of those ones you really want to see in the theater. So
yeah, I think you should. The scope of everything.
Yeah.
I think needs to be seen on the big screen. Yeah.
I think this works better on the big screen. I agree. Yeah.
So, but yeah, everything was perfect. Just finally, we care about the humans. Finally, they're portrayed as not just places where the camera can go to watch the big monster fight, like, and the CGI and the practical effects and everything together. Like, wow. I mean, you really feel menace from Godzilla in this. It's really cool. And a nice addition to his atomic breath, too. Like, add this one on to all the different types that he's had before. So, 9.5. I just go see it.
Mm-hmm. You won't regret it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, as a guy who didn't want to go see this movie, I loved almost every second of it.
Can't get higher praise than that.
Yeah. I kind of thought showing him regenerate at the end was a little cheesy, but I understand why they did it, because it's
Godzilla, man.
I know. I understand why they did it, but it was like they didn't need to. You knew he was coming back. Like, we didn't need to see it. Yeah. So, and I agree with John. Like, this is meant for the big screen. Like, go see this on the big screen. Doesn't have to be IMAX. You can go to regular theater and watch it and still enjoy it. But I don't think it works on your 27-inch tube television. So,
So get a 72-inch. Replace the 27-inch.
Did you guys like how they used the original Godzilla music consistently in this movie?
Yes,
That was pretty cool.
That was a great touch. I think this is proof that you can do a movie for $11 million, and it's amazing. Like you don't
15
need
million. It was 15
I'm
million.
sorry, $15 million and making an amazing movie.
Zaslav, look at this. This is what David Zaslav should be fighting for, right? The guy who likes to cut everything and wants everything to be cheaper. This is what he should do. He should circle everyone into his office tomorrow morning and say, "Look, this was made for $11 million.
15 million.
Why? $15 million. It's Warner.
Five,
Fuzzy
three,
math.
sir, three.
Fuzzy math at Warner's. This movie is made for $15 million. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Right? Because this looks better than any Marvel movie I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna go 9.5 just because I don't love Godzilla to begin with. I'll go 9 out of 10.
That's high praise from you though.
And I definitely this is definitely my so far. It depends on how Aquaman is, but so far this is my top movie of the year.
It's going to be the movie of the year.
Yeah, I really don't think Aquaman's gonna yeah, I don't think so.
All right, well there you go. We all love it. This movie's getting praised everywhere, and it deserves it. So let's wrap this puppy up with some what did you learn this week, or recommendations, or both. And John, you can go first.
Didn't learn anything this week except always bring a lot of I'm dying here. So I going along with the Godzilla theme, I have them over here. I didn't unwrap them yet, but I got the two issues of Justice League versus Godzilla. So you can order those on Amazon, and I would get them. I don't know if there's going to be a third. I got to read the first two, but apparently the Legion of Doom's fooling around with space-time, and suddenly they connect to the Monsterverse, and now you've got Godzilla and King Kong fighting the Justice League and the Legion of Doom and other,
sure, why not?
Other kaijus. So should be interesting. Why not?
All right, JD.
I learned that I'm a bad parent. I took my kid to see this movie, and it was rated PG-13. I was fine, but the trailer for Chauncey. Do you guys have the Chauncey trailer, or whatever that movie's called? The one with
Chauncey?
the evil teddy bear. The evil teddy bear that's
No,
actually a demon. Oh, lucky you!
that.
I did.
I
We
didn't
did.
see it.
I had a movie for a trailer, a Blumhouse film about an evil teddy
jeez.
bear. So I went, well, that's awesome. That's going to go over real well tonight. So I learned that I am a freaking idiot. Other than that, I had a great time watching the movie. Andy had fun. It's not his favorite Godzilla movie, but he said he liked it. He would much rather, his favorite was Godzilla versus Kong. He's excited for watching Godzilla and Kong team up to fight another monkey. So, I guess this character is more ubiquitous than I thought, which I guess I've just learned.
All right. Any recommendations?
No. I've been busy all week, so go see Godzilla. It's going to surprise you. Like, I know we just spent time praises, but honest to God, from the bottom of my heart, go see this movie. You'll be surprised.
All right. I learned that if Kassan comes in and ruins JD's gag, he gets upset.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that. I was gonna make John feel all worried and then take him on an emotional roller coaster of a journey, and it was robbed from me. But it's fine.
You could have still went with it, and
I could have, but then it would have been you can't tell someone the magic trick works and then just commit to keep doing the magic trick. You got to go, okay, fine, you got me.
Oh, all right.
Well, I had suspicions, but then again, the Werewolf by Night thing still bugs me.
That show, it's good. All that tells me is I'm becoming predictable in my old age, and I need to mix it up a little bit.
It's okay, Kassan. It's okay. We here are not educated, so
No.
All right. I just learned that we're dumb. All right.
That's how you know you're dumb, when you just figure it out.
It's a
I
Dunning
will-
Kruger thing. You know,
I
you're
will
finally getting to
recommend that people go to superheroespeak.com where they can find the podcast every week. Links to our social media at the top of the page, comic book reviews by our good friend Chris, and so much more. What did Classy just say? But there's a Godzilla X-Con coming out. Yes.
There is.
Yes.
We'll review that too on the show.
If I have to.
Oh yes. Now you've opened us up to kaijus. Now we talk about kaijus on the show.
Yeah,
you've been
I
ruined
can't-
by Godzilla -1. That's the problem.
I was about to say, I don't know if the rest of them are going to
That's
live
fine.
up to that.
Sometimes you got to watch a bad movie for a podcast.
I mean,
Randy has a whole show about it.
Godzilla versus Kong was just destruction porn, right?
Don't expect any more than that.
Right, and the humans were insignificant in that movie.
Yes.
There are places to put the camera. That's
There
basically-
is charm to insignificant humans. I think.
Yeah.
I thought that for a while.
And the only recommendation I have, I'll second JD. Yeah, just go see this movie. It's really good. It's a shame it didn't have a bigger opening in the United States, because there really isn't anything else to see, and it's a good movie.
I mean, in the U.S., this is just a thing that's going to draw a niche audience, especially if you're just going to release a subtitled version, and that's okay. We're not the target audience for this movie.
Yeah,
target audience is Japan.
Yeah,
right, and they love it. So, yeah.
I will be interested to see what word of mouth does next week.
Sir Classy says, "Need a mecha versus monsters film." I'll give you one. Pacific Rim. That's what that was.
Yeah, that's exactly what that was.
Or Monsters versus
I
Aliens.
think he means Mecha Godzilla, but yeah.
We had that. That was Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
The demographics is much older than younger folks. Yeah, us.
Yeah.
Those of us who grew up in the Showa era. So
well, no, I mean in Japan it's still popular. In Japan, Godzilla is a cultural icon. So again, it's being released here because they can make money on it.
Yeah.
Shin Godzilla did not have a release over here, but it did well enough on streaming, and that they said, okay, maybe we can make some money on this one, and they've made some money on this one. How much did they make in the U.S.?
In the U.S., they made 11 million. In
that's where I got 11
Japan,
million
it was
from.
23 million.
So in the U.S., it almost made the budget for the film back.
Yeah.
Alone, that's a huge win.
And word of mouth might double that. Next.
It may.
I mean,
it may.
When you have the critics and the audience agreeing at 97 to 98%, I'd be shocked if it doesn't go up. So
yeah. I think it's going to be, like I said, this is one of the more pleasant surprises of the year.
All right.
I'm glad John pushed for it, actually.
Yep. All right. Well, on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for watching. Don't let you get caught in the door. Have a good week.